Good day. In this lesson, we will try to solve a linear programming problem, maximization, using Simplex method. So these are the steps. First is the initialization setup to start iterations, including finding an initial CPF solution. Next, after initialization, we will do the optimality test. Is the current CPF solution optimal? So, kung hindi pa siya optimal, we will do iterations. And then, if the that table is optimal, we will stop. Okay? So, let's start. Ito yung ating problem. Max P is equals to 60x plus 50y subject to two constraints, 3x plus 2y less than or equal to 60 and x plus 2y less than or equal to 40 where all variables are greater than or equal to 0. So, yung sa unang step natin is initialization. Ang gagawin natin is to transform these equations into augmented form. So, when we say augmented form, we will include slacks or surplus, no? And then we change the sign to equals. So, let's start. So, unahin natin yung ating mga constraints. We have the first constraint, 3x plus 2y. And then, maglalagay tayo ng slack. Since ito ay maximization problem, we will include slack. And then, yung kanyang mga signs, take note, are all less than or equal. So, we have, for the first constraint, positive S sub 1 or slack sub 1. And then, yung ating inequality sign, gagawin natin equal sign. And then, equal to 60, which is our right-hand side. Dun sa ating second constraint, we have x plus 2y. Then, lagay tayo ng slack sub 2, positive s sub 2, then equals to 40. Sa ating objective function, so we will use the variable p. Then we will equate this one to 0. So we have p minus 60x and minus 50y is equals to 0. So this is in augmented form. Next procedure is to create a table using the coefficients ng ating equation. So, sa ating first table, sa ating columns, ilalagay natin yung mga variables. We have x, y, we have s sub 1, s sub 2. So, we will also include the right-hand side and for the ratio. Sa ating row, ang ilalagay lang natin are these slacks. Slack sub 1, slack sub 2, at saka yung ating objective. Okay. Ang ilalagay natin dito are the coefficients, na yung mga coefficients niya. So, sa ating S sub 1, sa first constraint, ilagay natin yung mga coefficients. Sa X, we have 3. Sa Y, 2. Sa S sub 1, 1. So, we have no S sub 2. Right-hand side, 60. Sa ating second constraint, meron tayong 1 sa X, 2 sa Y. We have no S sub 1. We have 1 sa S sub 2 and 40. Dito sa third equation, so sa X, we have negative 60. Sa Y, negative 50. Wala tayo sa S sub 1. Wala tayo sa S sub 2. Wala tayo sa right-hand side. And then, next procedure is to get the the leaving variable and the entering variable. So, para mahanap yung entering variable, ay hanapin natin yung list dito sa P row. But first, no, since yung ating P row, meron siyang negative values, this is not yet optimal. No? So, meron tayong negative signs sa P row and the list is the negative 60. So, bibilugan natin siya para matandaan natin. So, this will be the X, no? X will be the entering variable. So, nalaman na natin yung entering variable. Susunod naman yung leaving variable. So, para malaman ng leaving variable, hanapin natin ang ratio. Ang formula ng ratio is the right-hand side divided by the variables in the entering row. No? So, dito, sa S sub 1, we have 60 divided by 3. We have 20. Dito sa S sub 2, 40 divided by 1 ay 40. Okay? So, dito naman, kukunin natin yung pinakamababa, non-zero, and non-negative value. So, ang pinakamababa is 20. Bilugan natin siya. This will be the leaving variable. So, this will leave. So, S sub 1 is the leaving and X is the entering. So, sabi natin, since this is not optimal, we will create another iteration table. So, gagawa ulit tayo ng panibagong table. We have X, Y, S sub 1, S sub 2, right hand side, and then the ratio. Tapos, sa sa row part, since X is entering, S1 is leaving, papalitan natin yung S sub 1 ng X. So, magiging X, yung S sub 2 retain, at saka yung P. Ang gagawin natin yan is first we will develop the X row. Ito, no? Yan ang gagawin natin. And then the formula to develop the X row, magre-refer tayo sa previous table. And then we will get the pivot element. So, yung pivot element is the intersection of the entering and the leaving. So, ang intersection nila is 3, which is the pivot element. Okay, so we have obtained the pivot element. Ang gagawin natin is ang formula for the new row, the X row, is the old old elements in the leaving row divided by the pivot element. So, dito, no, we have 3 divided by 3, 1, 2 divided by 3, 2/3, 1 divided by 3, 1/3, 0 divided by 3, that is 0, 60 divided by 3, we have 20. Okay, so next, we will develop the new S2 and the new P row. So, meron tayong formula dyan. Elements in the old row minus intersectional elements of old row multiplied by the corresponding elements on the replacing row, and that will be the element of the new row. So, una muna daw, elements in the old row. So, yung old row S2, the elements, ito yung mga elements. So, ililista natin yan. So, we have 1, we have 2, 0, 1, and 40. And then minus, and then quantity, intersectional elements of old row. So, yung intersectional elements of the old row, kung titingnan natin to, ito yung part na yon. So, sa S2, ang intersectional element is 1. Ito yon. Okay? So, ilagay natin 1. Multiplied by corresponding elements in the replacing row. So, ano yon? Bali, ito yon yung sa X, no? Yung kinompute lang natin kanina. So, we write 1, 2/3, 1/3, 0, and 20. And then close parenthesis. We now solve each of them. So, ito, pag sinolve natin yan, this is 0. Ito naman, we have 4/3. Ito ay negative 1/3. Ito ay 1. And this is 20. So, ilalagay natin to, no, yung mga nakuha natin sa ating table. So, we have here 0, 4/3, negative 1/3, 1, and 20. Okay, sa new P row, ganun din ang formula. Una is yung elements in the old row. We have negative 60, negative 50, and we have 0, 0, 0. Minus yung ating intersectional element of old row. So, intersectional element natin dito is negative 60. So, lagay natin negative 60 sa lahat. Multiplied by the corresponding elements, no, yung X natin, corresponding elements in the replacing row. So, lagay natin siya. 1, 2/3, 1/3, 0, and 20. Okay, so isosolve na natin siya. This is 0. This is negative 10. Ito ay 20. Ito ay 0. This is positive 1,200. And then, we will write yung ating mga nakuha dito sa ating row. We have 0, negative 10, 20, 0, and 1,200. Next procedure is to test the optimality. Since meron tayong negative, mag-iteration ulit tayo. Now, we will do another iteration. So, this is as the second table. So, we will do another table, which is the third table. Again, hanapin natin yung pinakamababang value sa P row. So, ang pinakamababa nating value is negative 10. So, sa Y siya. Yung Y yung ating entering variable. And then, para mahanap yung leaving, i-compute natin yung ratio. So, RHS divided by the elements in the entering variable, di ba? So, dito, 20 divided by 2/3 we have 30. 20 divided by 4/3, we have 15. So, do sa P, wala tayong kukumputin na ratio. And then again, we will get the least. So, yung least dito is 15. So, bibilugan natin yung row ng least ratio. At ito na naman ang magiging leaving variable. So, y enters, S2 leaves. Again, no, gagawa tayo ng third table since it is not optimized. Ganun pa rin. Sulat natin yung mga variables. And then here, x retains. Yung S sub 2 will be replaced by y. And then yung ating p. Again, ang una nating i-develop ay yung entering variable. So, ito yon, no? Ito yung una nating i-develop. And then, again, yung formula niya is the old variable divided by the pivot element, which is 4/3. So, 0 divided by 4/3, 0. 4/3 divided by 4/3, we have 1. Negative 1/3 divided by 4/3, we have negative 1/4. 1 divided by 4/3, we have 3/4. And then 20 divided by 4/3, we have 15. Next, we will develop the new x, no, and the new p row. So again, yung formula natin, no, elements in old row minus intersectional elements of old row times corresponding elements in the replacing row. So sa x, ano yung elements in the old x row? Nandito siya, no? Referring to our previous table, we have 1, 2/3, 1/3, 0, and 20. We have 1, 2/3, 1/3, 0, and 20. Then minus, open parenthesis, intersectional element of the old row. Ano nga yun? Sa bandang x. So, we have 2/3, no? Itong 2/3. Multiplied by the corresponding elements in the replacing row. Ito yon, no? Sinolve natin kanina. So, we have 0, 1, negative 1/4, 3/4, and 15. And then close parenthesis. So, isosolve na natin siya. This is 1. This is 0. This is 1/2. This is negative 1/2. And this is 10. Okay, so ilagay na natin siya dito sa row na to. 1, 0, 1 half, negative 1 half, and 10. Sa ating new P row, ganun din, no? So, yung ating elements in the old row, old P row, ito yon 0, negative 10, 20, 0, and 1, 2. So, meron tayong 0, negative 10, 20, 0, and 1,200. Minus, open parenthesis, the intersectional elements of old row. So, ano yun? So, sa P, we have negative 10. Ito. So, negative 10. Multiplied by corresponding elements in the replacing row. Ito yon, no? Ito. We have 0, 1, negative 1/4, 3/4, and 15. So, isosolve natin sila. We have 0. We have 0. This is 17.5 in decimal numbers. This is 7.5 in decimal numbers. And this is 1,350. So, ilagay na natin siya dito. This is 0, 0, 17.5. This is 7.5. Then 1,350. Now, we will do the optimality test. Since wala tayong negative value sa P row, we have arrived with the optimal solution. So, ang gagawin natin, ililista natin yung mga values. So, for x, so, ang x is 10. So, we have x equals to 10. Sa ating y is equals to 15. Sa ating s sub 1, so, wala tayong s sub 1. So, this is 0. Sa s sub 2, so, again, wala tayong s sub 2, no? So, 0. And then, our max p, so, ating p value is 1,350. Okay, thank you and hope you have learned from our lesson. Take care always and goodbye.